Incredible transformation, abandoned triplets change young billionaire's life forever revealed. Mark Thompson sat alone in his lavish office, staring at the skyscrapers outside his large glass window. At 28, he was a titan of industry, yet within his chest, loneliness crashed like waves against a rocky shore. Raised in foster care, the boy who once dreamed of family now held the weight of wealth like an anchor pulling him into the depths of despair. Success glittered, but the emptiness gnawed at him, louder than the clinking of champagne glasses at lavish parties. That evening, seeking a flicker of connection, Mark strolled into a local shelter. The air was filled with laughter and intoxicating melody of joy that pierced through his cocoon of solitude. As he wandered deeper into the bustling room, he caught sight of three girls, identical in every way yet strikingly different in spirit. Emma, Jake, and Lily played beneath a tattered mural, their contagious laughter chasing away the darkness hanging over his heart. Mark felt a spark the kind he'd forgotten existed. They were abandoned yet undeterred, a fierce bond of love and resilience lighting their eyes. "Hey there." He approached, the words tumbling out. Their smiles widened, reflecting innocence behind lives marred by struggle. Together, they crafted cardboard swords, pretending to conquer dragons. "Look! I'm a knight!" Jake exclaimed, waving his sword with unbridled joy. "Not on my watch." Emma brandished her blade, eyes glinting with playful competition. As they fought their imaginary battles, memories of camaraderie flooded Mark's mind, arousing a longing he thought had faded. "I want to help you," he blurted, the words vulnerable, raw, and honest. Suddenly, joy he never expected wrapped around his heart. He spent weeks at the shelter, finding solace in their laughter. The trio became his anchor, yanking him back from the brink of isolation, forcing him to recall what family truly meant. But murmurs from the community painted Mark as an outsider, a wealthy man to be scrutinized. Doubts crept in as the townsfolk eyed him warily, whispering about the lost billionaire. "What does he want with those kids?" they asked. Mark felt the pressure mount. Could someone as wealthy as him truly wish to forge connections with those perceived as less? Then came the storm. A bureaucratic hurdle threatened to separate the triplets from the shelter. Hurdles appeared as they navigated through the complexities of acceptance, reminding Mark of his own scars. With each challenge, he saw their unyielding spirit and began confronting his painful past. He realized this bond was more profound than he'd ever imagined. They needed him as much as he needed them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just when Mark thought they could navigate the storm together, an old friend appeared, someone ready to expose the dark secrets of his past, ready to tear apart the semblance of family he'd built. Mark's heart raced, fear beating against the hollow spaces within him. Their laughter echoed in the halls, yet shadows loomed large. Could he defend the family he'd come to love? Would the hidden truths shatter everything? The weight of the moment bore down on him, pulling him from hope into the depths of despair. As the community's judgment hung in the air, the question loomed over Mark: was he prepared to fight for love and belonging, or would the ghosts of his past drag him down? Mark paced the spacious room, each step echoing like thunder in his anxious chest. The sounds of laughter from the triplets formed a dissonant backdrop, reminding him of the joy he wanted to protect. Would the darkness of his past swallow that joy whole? He felt trapped in a whirlwind of emotions: fear, love, and the need to shield them all. "Mark!" A sudden voice broke through his contemplation. It was Lou, his childhood friend, the one he'd hoped would stay in the past. Lou's presence felt like a storm cloud hovering ominously above. "It's funny to see you here," he sneered, his eyes flicking over the trio, sensing the energy that filled the room. Playing house with the little orphans? Mark's fists clenched. Anger coiled inside him, bubbling under the surface. They aren't just orphans, Lou. They are kids full of life, and it's about time you understood that. Lou stepped closer, an insidious grin plastered across his face. You think you can save them? Spoil them with your cash? His words darted like knives, taunting and sharp. You think you can just swoop in and play the hero? Mark's heart raced again, this time fueled by determination. He recognized the shadows of fear in Lou's expression but felt a fire ignite within him. This isn't about money. It's about love and family. Something you wouldn't understand. Family? Lou's laughter echoed, haunting and hollow. Look at you, the billionaire wanting to play family with children no one else wants. What will the press say when they get wind of your little project? He relished the thought of that chaos, eyes gleaming with a twisted excitement. Mark took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of strength he had left. If you're trying to intimidate me, it's not going to work, he stated firmly, meeting Lou's mocking gaze unflinching. I will fight for them. With every word, an image formed, three innocent faces looking up at him, filled with trust and hope. They had become his reason, his anchor against the storm of loneliness that had engulfed him for so long. The prospect of losing them ignited an instinct deep within him that he thought had long faded. Mark's eyes shifted back to the triplets, who were now engrossed in an intense battle of make-believe. Their laughter rang through the air like small chimes of freedom. It struck him that even if Lou threatened his past, it was the children who represented his future. He needed to show them that family wasn't about blood but about resilience, loyalty, and love. Whatever you do, Lou, I won't back down. They deserve a chance, Mark breathed, feeling the burden of the moment lighten as he resolved to protect this newfound family. Do you really think the world will let you have them? You don't realize how deep the roots of your past run, Lou hissed, a sly smile creeping on his face, but Mark refused to let it shake him. We'll see who wins when the truth comes out. With that, Lou turned to leave, the sound of his departing footsteps drumming a funeral march in Mark's ears. Waves of uncertainty crashed over him, but in those depths, a flicker of clarity emerged. He wouldn't just fight to keep the triplets safe, he would confront the shadows lurking within himself. As days went by, the threat of exposure loomed ever closer, coupled with an undeniable desire to prove himself as their protector. He bolstered his resolve with every moment spent with the children. Their laughter became his shield, their light ignited in him an unyielding pursuit of love and belonging. But as the storm clouds gathered, another unforeseen twist approached. Mark discovered a secret file buried in the depths of his family's past, something he never knew about, something that could shift everything. The truth he unearthed would challenge everything he thought he knew. Could the revelations heal the wounds of childhood, wounds he so desperately fought to escape, or would they unravel the life he fought to build? The weight of concern settled in his heart, but he held on to hope. As the shadows deepened, Mark felt humanity in every beat of his heart. He would not allow fear to dominate. But as he braced himself for the battle ahead, he couldn't shake the feeling that the true fight had only just begun. The air felt thick with tension as Mark bent over the file, papers strewn across the oak table in his study. He held a photograph in his trembling hands, eyes locking onto a familiar face, his mother, but with a man he'd never seen before. The sun shone brightly in the image, casting long shadows on the day that must have held some significance he couldn't grasp. The door creaked open behind him. He turned, startled to see Mia, one of the triplets, her curiosity emanating like warmth on a chilly day. What are you doing, Mark? She asked with her big, innocent eyes. Mark quickly shoved the photograph underneath the others, forcing a smile. Just some old family stuff, he said, but the words felt heavy, loaded with secrets he wanted to keep buried. Her head tilted, perceiving his unease. Is it about your family or our family? He blinked, the question hitting him harder than he expected. It's complicated, he admitted, running a hand through his hair. Mia's small fingers played with the edge of her shirt, her innocence lighting a path through his turmoil. "You have us, you know. We're your family too." Her words struck a chord deep inside him. Mark felt a swell of emotion, understanding that despite the ghosts of his past, they were right there, a living symbol of his chance to rewrite his story. "Mia," he knelt down to her level, sincerity radiating through his gaze. "You don't know how much that means to me." "Let us forget about whatever that is," she said, her face breaking into a radiant smile. "Can we build a fort in the living room? I want to make it the biggest fort ever." Mark laughed, the sound echoing with genuine warmth. "Sure. Right after I clean this up. Want to help?" As they began to gather the scattered papers, the mood shifted. Laughter bubbled between them, washing away the weight of shadows clinging to Mark's heart. Yet as the cheerful sound surrounded him, the unease nagged at him like a persistent ache. What would happen if Lou uncovered the truth, if it shattered this fragile happiness? "Mark!" shouted Danny, the eldest of the triplets, bursting into the room, his face alight with excitement. "You have to see what Linda and I built in the living room." "Count me in." Mark replied, feeling the urgency to step back into joy, if only for a moment. They raced down the hallway, laughter ringing through the house, yet Mark's mind drifted back to the photo, to the life-changing secret he was on the brink of uncovering. The fort was a masterpiece of blankets and pillows, a cozy enclave that felt like a haven from the storm outside. The triplets piled in, pulling Mark down with them. As they settled, Mia handed him a fuzzy stuffed bear, all worn but filled with memories. "He's our guardian," she chirped. "He'll keep us safe." Mark's heart swelled at her innocence. "A great idea, Mia. But remember, I'm here to keep you safe too." The triplets beamed at him, and in that moment, he felt the happiness seep in, covering him like a good friend's embrace, yet, beneath the surface of this tranquility, Mark's mind raced. The secret hovered, waiting to pounce, promising revelation but also uncertainty. He glanced at the children, their eyes sparkling with trust, and couldn't he help but wonder if the truth about his past came crashing in, would it fracture the family they were building? As they sprawled in the fort, his mind returned again to the photo and the man with his mother. He knew the answers were buried just beneath the surface, and the time to dig deeper was approaching fast. What would he find when he finally unearthed the truth? Would it tear them apart, or could it be the very thing that healed them all? Mark took a deep breath, the laughter fading into a gentle hum around him. There was no turning back now. The truth awaited, and he felt an undeniable pull to confront it. Mark lay back against the pillow fort, the children's laughter still ringing in his ears. The cozy space surrounded him, but even the safety of their fortress couldn't shoo away the shadows of uncertainty creeping at the edges of his mind. The laughter of Mia, Danny, and Linda felt like a soothing balm, yet every joy-filled giggle nudged him closer to the edge of a revelation he knew he had to confront. "Tell us a story, Mark." Danny's enthusiastic voice broke through his thoughts. The eldest triplet scooted closer, a playful grin lighting up his face. "Yeah. A scary one," Linda added, her eyes wide with the thrill of a shiver. "Or a super cool adventure," Mia chimed in, clutching her stuffed bear. Mark chuckled, the weight pressing on his chest slightly lifted by their eager expressions. "Okay, how about a mix of all three? But be warned, it might get a little spooky." With dramatic flair, he began to weave a tale about a brave hero on a quest to face a fearsome dragon. As he spun the story, he caught glimpses of their innocent delight, their emotional investment in each twist and turn igniting a protective flame within him. Yet, as he watched their rapt attention, an image of the photograph slipped into his mind, the man beside his mother with a knowing smile. Was he a hero too, or was he the source of the storm brewing in Mark's heart? The story ended with cheers and laughter, but a silence soon stretched in the aftermath, wrapping around them like a wool blanket. Mark felt the heaviness again. The very secrets he sought to bury were softly whispering for acknowledgement. "Hey, Mark." Mia's voice broke through, sweet and innocent, tugging at the fibers of his worry. "Can we ask you something?" Sure, sweetheart, he replied, wondering what they were about to say. Do you have any more secrets? You can tell us anything, she urged, her eyes shimmering with trust and understanding. His heart sank. How could he speak of secrets he didn't even fully comprehend himself? Instead of voicing his fears, he forced a smile. Not any more than the ones in the stories. I promise. But guilt gnawed at him. This was more than just his story now, it tightly intertwined with theirs. The sound of laughter erupted again as they discussed the dragoness treasure, but the festivity felt different to Mark, tainted by what he'd yet to divulge. Mia, Danny, Linda, he started, trying to steady the tremor in his voice. You guys mean everything to me. But I think I have to figure some things out on my own too. Are we not enough? Danny's question sliced the air, raw and direct. No. It's not that. You're all that I could ever need, Mark responded, kneeling to their level, resolute but tender. I just need some time to work through it. Linda placed a hand on his shoulder, strong for her age. Then go find your treasure. A wave of pride washed over him. These kids were more than he had imagined. They were strength wrapped in bright smiles and innocent hearts. Still, as they sat in cozy silence again, a looming question remained: would he uncover the truth before it beckoned them apart? Okay, kids, he finally said, breaking the silence. Let us build a bigger fort tomorrow. But right now, how about ice cream? Cheers erupted, the air thickening with excitement and urgency. They scrambled out of the fort, racing toward the kitchen, leaving Mark momentarily alone. He stood, reflecting on the decisions to come. The secrets were buried deep, but he felt the pull stronger than ever. Something had to give, something had to become clear. As he turned to follow the triplets and their enthusiastic energy, he couldn't shake the thought: when he faced the truth, what would it mean for their family? A chill ran down his spine as he opened the kitchen door. While the children gushed about flavors, Mark knew the hidden dragon awaited, lurking in shadows, ready to unleash the storm that could either shatter or strengthen their fragile happiness. What would he find when he finally took that leap into the unknown? Mark joined the children in the kitchen, the warmth of their laughter swallowing him like a shield against the chill of his thoughts. Mia was bouncing on her toes, eyeing the ice cream options lined up in the freezer. I want chocolate with sprinkles, she declared, twisting around to catch her siblings' attention. Danny, already rummaging through the freezer, called out, I'm going for cookie dough. It's the best. Linda stood with her hands on her hips, a tiny warrior in her own right. You both are wrong. Vanilla is the only way to go. Mark couldn't help but laugh. Their bickering felt like a bomb applied directly to his frayed nerves. With each scoop of ice cream, he tried to shake the unsettled feeling that clung to him like a heavy coat. Their joy was so palpable, the kitchen filled with sweet anticipations, but deep inside, he still battled the storm of uncertainty threatening to break free. As the children settled at the table, bowls in hand, Mark took a seat across from them. He tried to match their enthusiasm, but his fingers tapped uneasily on the table. So, he began, voice trying for casual. What else do you think we should do in our big fort tomorrow? More stories. Mia suggested, her mouth half full of chocolate ice cream. Building a secret escape tunnel. Danny chimed in, eyes sparkling with possibilities. Exploring the dark cave. Linda concluded, her fingers mimicking stalactites hanging from the ceiling. Mark smiled, but the weight of what loomed ahead remained heavy in his chest. You kids dream big, he replied, leaning back, pushing against the tension binding him. Then, amid the laughter and chatter, silence suddenly fell. Every pair of eyes turned to him, and for a moment, the retreat of innocence was palpable. Mia told us you might have some secrets, Danny said, brow furrowed slightly. Are you going to tell us? Mark's stomach twisted. They were so bright, so full of life. How could he explain the shadows he carried without dimming their spark? Well, sometimes secrets are like complicated stories, he began, fumbling for an explanation that would make sense. They can be hard to tell. Like the dragon? Linda asked, tilting her head with genuine curiosity. Exactly, he replied, heart racing. You see, the dragon can be scary. But it's also where the treasure lies, right? The room filled with the children's anticipatory murmurs, a mixture of confusion and the innocent desire for clarity. Are you the hero or the dragon? Asked Mia, her eyes wide. Mark sighed, feeling the weight of their eyes on him. He wanted to shield them from his truth, yet their questions stirred something deep within. They deserved honesty. They deserved to know him fully. I think I'm both right now, kids, he admitted, surprise bursting from him like a sudden storm. I'm trying to be the hero, but sometimes I feel like I'm wrestling with my own dragon. It's not easy. Can we help? Danny asked, leaning closer, his voice soft but steady. Their innocence made his heart ache. They were ready to stand by him, even if he couldn't figure it all out himself. Just by being you, he said, fighting back emotion. That makes me braver than I've ever been. As they dug back into their ice cream, the room shimmered with hope and understanding. Mark realized he had to face this revelation head-on, not just for himself, but for them too. He needed to uncover the truth about the man standing next to his mother in the photograph. What connection did that man have to him? Was he the key to the dragon's true treasure, the secret that could bring clarity? Tomorrow, he would unravel it all. But tonight, he could sit at a kitchen table surrounded by laughter, savoring every joyful chaotic moment the triplets gifted him. Just as Mia cracked a joke, laughter bursting to fill the air once more, the doorbell rang, slicing through the atmosphere. Mark shot a glance at the kids, curiosity dancing in their eyes. What now? Who could that be? He murmured, heart pounding again, this time with a mix of anxiety and excitement. Maybe the next chapter was about to unfold. Mark felt a flutter of anticipation mixed with unease. The warmth of the kitchen seemed to fade slightly as the doorbell echoed like a call from the unknown. The children exchanged glances, their curiosity palpable. I'll go see. Danny announced, jumping up from his seat. His enthusiasm was infectious, but Mark's heart raced as he followed the boy to the door. He hoped whatever or whoever was on the other side wouldn't disrupt the fragile peace they forged in this small moment of joy. Mark reached the door and took a deep breath. He opened it slowly, steeling himself for anything. On the other side stood a woman he didn't recognize. Her eyes were wide, mirroring a mix of hope and desperation. She held a large envelope in her trembling hands. Excuse me, are you Mark? She asked, voice wavering slightly. Yeah. That's me. His confusion deepened as he glanced back at Danny, who was beaming up at him, eyes wide with curiosity. The woman took a step closer, her breath hitching. I'm sorry to intrude, but I think you need to see this, it's important. Mark's instincts kicked in. What is it? He asked, trying to keep his voice steady. She thrust the envelope toward him. Please, just open it. I can't explain it all now, but it's about your father. The room around them fell silent. Cold dread swept over Mark, chilling even the warmth generated by the laughter inside. With trembling hands, he accepted the envelope while the woman's eyes searched his, filled with an urgency that tugged at his heart. Mark hesitated for a moment, then tore it open. He pulled out several photographs and a letter. Glancing quickly at the images, his breath caught in his throat. There was his father, younger and smiling, standing next to an unfamiliar woman. But the other man in one of the photos, Mark could barely process it. It was the same man from the photograph he had been studying. Mark's mind raced. The words from the letter blurred together, yet he noticed certain phrases jump out at him: family, legacy, hidden truths. His hands trembled, fear and excitement battling within him. This sudden intrusion felt like the dragon bursting from behind a wall, fierce and commanding. Mister, are you okay? Danny's voice broke through, breaking the spell. Mark glanced at Danny, then back to the woman. "What do you know about him?" he demanded, voice firm but laced with a childlike tremor. "Who is the man in these pictures?" The woman stepped back, swallowing hard. He was important to you, more than you know. But there's so much to explain, things that could change everything." Her voice was soft, as if she were afraid any louder tone would shatter the fragile bubble around them. At the table, Mia and Linda watched with wide eyes, sensing the shift in their father figure's demeanor. The lightness of ice cream and laughter disappeared, replaced by an electrifying tension. Mark inhaled deeply, a spark igniting within him, the unquenchable thirst for the truth pushing aside all his uncertainties. This was what he needed to face the dragon at last. "Come inside," he urged, stepping back from the doorway. "We need to talk." The woman nodded, relief washing over her face as she stepped into the warmth of the kitchen. The children gathered closer, sensing something monumental was about to unfold. As everyone settled into a tight circle, Mark let the fear wash away for just a moment. He was prepared to step forward into the darkness, to confront whatever truth this woman held. With everyone watching him, he felt that familiar weight settle on his shoulders, not just his burden, but theirs too. They faced the dragon together. In that moment, he knew the next chapter of their lives was about to begin, but what lay ahead? Was this the beginning of a rekindled connection or a deeper dive into secrets that could tear their world apart? The woman stepped inside, her presence almost ethereal against the backdrop of the kitchen's warmth. Mark motioned for her to sit at the island, glancing momentarily at the children, who were now huddled together in wide-eyed silence. He could feel the weight of the moment crushing down, yet the embers of curiosity sparkled just beneath the surface. "Who are you?" he asked, keeping his voice steady, trying to project calm. It was a question laced with urgency, not just for himself but for the children who watched every flicker of emotion dancing across his face. "My name is Sarah," she said softly, clasping her hands tightly together. "And I knew your father well. I knew him before he passed away. There are things you don't know, things he wanted you to know." Mark's pulse quickened. "What things? What could he possibly want me to know?" His heart raced, each beat pounding like a drum. Sarah hesitated, her gaze drifting as if conjuring memories that felt both precious and painful. "There was a lot of pain, Mark. Things that your father carried, and things he believed were best kept hidden. But you deserve the truth. You all do." Her eyes flicked to the children, and Mark felt a surge of protectiveness over them. Mark pulled the letter from the envelope once more, holding it with a fierceness that surprised him. "How did you come to find this? Why now?" "I didn't know how to reach you," she replied, cheeks flushing. "But after he passed, I learned that some secrets, they don't belong in shadows. I've spent years trying to piece together the fragments of his story. And now, you deserve to hear them." The shadows in the room deepened, and Mark suddenly felt as though time was slipping away. He exchanged a glance with Mia and Linda, who were still glued to the scene, the air thick with uncertainty. "What are you saying? That you knew him well?" Mark pressed, a mix of desperation and determination in his voice. Sarah leaned forward, her breath quickening. "He had another family, Mark. You're not alone in this. You have siblings, brothers, sisters, who were hidden away, kept secret for reasons that don't make sense to me. Your father loved you all, but he didn't know how to reconcile his past." The children gasped softly. Even Danny, with his innocent curiosity, felt the weight of her words. "Siblings?" Mia's voice was barely above a whisper as she digested the shocking revelations, her wide eyes searching Mark's for reassurance. Mark's world tilted on its axis. Siblings. The word echoed in his mind like a melody he had longed to hear yet feared at the same time. His father had always spoken of family in broad, vague strokes, but this was a different kind of legacy. A truth woven with tangled threads of lives intersecting in ways he couldn't yet fathom. "What do you mean hidden?" he asked, heart hammering in his chest. "Where are they?" "I don't know," Sarah admitted, her expression remorseful. Not yet. But it's vital we find out. Your dad left clues, and I believe they're tied to these photographs. He wanted you to know. Mark stared down at the images again, processing the weight of this revelation. There was a part of him that felt exhilarated at the thought of family beyond what he had ever imagined. Yet, alongside that thrill was a fear of the unknown, fear of unraveling painful truths and the turbulent emotions that pursued him. I need time, we all need time, he said, glancing around the table while Danny shifted anxiously. But if this is true, if there are siblings out there, Mark's resolve crystallized, a fierce determination awakening within him. It was time to confront the past, to unlock the secrets that had been hidden away. Do you have any idea where we can start? He asked, turning back to Sarah. As her eyes met his, he could see a mixture of hope and heaviness. I think the first place to look is gathered around the names of those in these photos. They're not just faces, they were a part of your father's life, a part of your life too. Mark nodded, adrenaline coursing through him. Hope flickered and flared like a candle caught in the wind. But with that hope came the deep recognition of the journey ahead, a journey that could lead to healing, connection, or deeper heartache. Ready for whatever lay ahead, he breathed in deeply. Then let us find them. While the warmth of the kitchen surrounded them, Mark realized that he was on the cusp of a transformation that could change everything. But as the door to this new chapter of their lives swung wide, the question lingered in the air: would the search for family bring them together or tear them apart? Mark took a deep breath, feeling the weight of both excitement and fear crash over him like waves against a rocky shore. The kitchen, once simply a space of comfort and familiarity, now crackled with uncharted possibilities. Sarah's words echoed in his mind, melding with the photographs spread across the island. What do we do first? Mia asked, breaking the tense silence. Her voice held a tremor that mirrored Mark's own internal chaos. She was young, too young to carry the burden of secrets that twisted their family tree. Mark looked at her, her big brown eyes wide and searching. They all needed reassurance, a solid ground beneath them as they ventured into this emotional tumult. We make a plan, he replied, steadying his voice. We go through these photos, see if there are any names or clues, and then we follow them. Sarah nodded, her enthusiasm brightening the atmosphere. Your father made notes, little hints tucked away in places only someone who cared deeply would notice. It's like a treasure hunt for truth. Mark's heart quickened as he flipped through the first few photos again. Faces with smiling eyes stared back at him, each one a puzzle piece waiting to be connected. There was excitement in the air, an electric whisper that hinted at adventure. Yet, lurking beneath it all was an anxiety that would not be ignored. Linda, who had remained quiet, finally piped up. What if we find them? What if they don't want to know us? What if her words trailed off as a shadow of doubt fell over her features? Mark's instinct was to protect them from pain, from the disappointment of rejection. But he understood her fears too well. Listen, Linda, he said gently, we have to take this one step at a time. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. Family isn't just about blood, it's about support. We'll lean on one another, no matter what. But uncertainty clung to the air, thick and palpable. Mark knew that they were standing on the edge of something vast and dark. Would this journey towards family, towards understanding, lead them into light or deeper shadows? Okay, I'm in, Mia said after a pause, determination creeping back into her voice. Let us find them. We can handle whatever comes next. Mark released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He believed them. They could do this together as a family. Great, Sarah said, her words ringing with hope. Let us start with that back corner, she gestured toward the stack of photos. I think there might be something significant in there. As they all leaned over the table, the four of them working side by side, Mark felt a peculiar warmth blossoming in his chest. Maybe, just maybe, they would find something beautiful amidst the wreckage of secrets. A rustle of paper caught his attention. He pulled out a photo he hadn't seen earlier, the edges worn but the faces still vivid. A group of children, no older than Danny, stood together, arms draped around one another, eyes sparkling with joy. Who are they? He wondered aloud, tilting the photo for a better view. Could one of them be a sibling? As he searched for names on the back, a chill raced down his spine. This wasn't just a picture, it was a glimpse into a life that could have been his. Mia, Linda, look at this. He called, excitement surging through him. The atmosphere shifted, tension replaced with a burgeoning thrill of discovery. This might actually be a turning point. If we can figure out who they are, we could find our family. Let us do it. Mia exclaimed, a spark igniting in her eyes. Suddenly, moments of laughter and camaraderie filled the room. The world outside faded as they focused on the connections they were beginning to forge, both within each other and with those yet to be found. Yet, even as they worked through the mounting anticipation, a nagging thought lingered in Mark's mind. What if the search revealed not just siblings, but also deep, hidden wounds? The clock ticked steadily in the background, a reminder of the urgency building within him. Would they emerge from this journey stronger, or was the past about to unleash its true weight? As they continued digging, the flickering candle of hope glowed brighter. But with every moment they spent forging ahead, Mark could feel the shadows stretching behind them, ready to catch hold once more. Here we go, he whispered under his breath, bracing himself for whatever lay ahead. Would their pursuit of truth unite them, or unravel the very fabric of the family they were trying to build? Mark squinted at the photo, his heart racing as determination coursed through him. Who were these smiling children? Something deeper tugged at his heart, a familiar ache he couldn't shake. Mia leaned in, her shoulder brushing against his. What if one of them is Dad's brother or sister? Linda's eyes widened, excitement momentarily overshadowing her doubt. Or cousins. We could be finding family we never knew we had. A beam of hope flickered to life. Through the haze of uncertainty, Mark felt a renewed sense of purpose. All right, let us figure this out, he said, flipping the photo to the other side. As he scanned the aged paper, there in the corner was a name hastily scribbled, Elliot. A rush of adrenaline surged through Mark. Guys, look! He exclaimed, his finger pointing. Elliot. That's something. If we can find more about him, maybe will lead us to those kids. Mia leaned closer, brushing her fingertips against the photo. Elliot, there must be something in Dad's notes. Let us check. The eagerness in her voice spread to the others. They gathered around the island, rifling through stacks of papers and notes. Mark felt the warmth of their shared purpose, the stirring hope intertwining their fates. Each note, every scribble held the potential to change their lives, the kitchen filled with the rustling of paper and scattered remarks, some excited whispers, and the occasional soft laugh. But amidst it all, Linda's apprehension lingered like a shadow, a reminder that with hope came the risk of disappointment. Mark glanced at her. You okay? He asked gently. She forced a smile, though her eyes glimmered with unshed tears. Yeah, just what if we find them, but they don't want us? He reached out and took her hand, squeezing it tightly. We won't know until we try. Family means taking risks, and we're in this together, right? She nodded, the tremor in her voice settling. Right. Together. Hours passed, the afternoon sun casting a warm glow through the kitchen windows. It felt alive, echoing with their laughter and shared moments. They dissected every clue like detectives on a mission, their excitement fueling each revelation. Then, Mark found something, a yellowed envelope tucked beneath a pile of old postcards. Look what I found. He shouted, holding it up triumphantly. Maybe it's another clue. With trembling hands, he opened it. Inside, a crumpled sheet of paper held a list of names, each one scrawled in his father's unmistakable handwriting. His breath hitched. The first few names were familiar, his parents, of course, but they were followed by others, relatives Mark had never known. But one name stood out, the name of a woman. Morgan. Who is Morgan? Mark whispered, a chill racing down his spine. Sarah looked over his shoulder, her eyes widening. I've heard that name before. It was mentioned in Dad's journal. Mia was practically bouncing with excitement. Then we have to read it. It could be the key. Mark could feel the urgency, the thrill of the unknown. As they gathered around the journal, the air thickening with anticipation, the room seemed to pulse with energy. The secrets they unearthed could lead them to a family he never knew he wanted, but the question weighed heavily: who was Morgan, and what role did she play in their story? As they peeled back the layers of the past, each page turned promised revelations and the indelible fear of what truths those revelations might unveil. Would these revelations bind them closer together or cast them into uncertainty once more? With his heart racing and hope flickering brighter than before, Mark braced himself for what they were about to uncover. Would Morgan be the answer to their questions, or would she lead them down a path they weren't ready to take? As the gathering energy filled the kitchen, Mark felt the weight of anticipation settle heavily around him. The room, once vibrant with laughter and innocent chatter, now pulsed with the potential of discovery. He opened the journal, a creaking sound breaking the tense silence as the pages slid apart. With determination etched across his features, Mark began to read aloud. The words danced off the page: tales of family, laughter, love, and heart-wrenching choices. The children leaned in closer, their wide eyes drinking in every syllable, invigorated by the idea of family hidden within the ink. But then came the section that made his heart stutter, a story of a woman named Morgan who had been woven into the fabric of his father's life, a woman who bore connections to him that he never fathomed. She was important, he stammered, the realization lurching in his chest, to him, and maybe even to us. Mia's wide, hopeful eyes glimmered. Do you think she's our sister? Mark swallowed hard, pulling in a breath. I don't know yet, but we can't ignore it. She could be. But his voice trailed off, the possibilities looming like shadows. Determination sparked anew within each heart present, and they gathered their resolve. The united front they had forged around the kitchen island deepened their bond, pushing back against the uncertainty that lurked just beyond the doorstep. They would search for Morgan. Excitement rippled through the growing family bond as they rifled through the rest of the pages, discovering more names, places, and hints that could guide them. They scribbled everything down, pen scratching against paper in a rhythm fueled by hope. Hours slipped by until darkness blanketed the sky outside, and the kitchen glowed warmly, fueled by the light of their ambition. As the last pieces of information shaped their plan, Mark felt his heart swell. We can do this, together, he said to the triplets, locking eyes with each of them in turn. No matter what we uncover, we'll be there for each other. Together, chimed Danny, determination glistening in his voice. With their collective strength sparking a sense of unity, Mark understood that they were more than just individuals attached by circumstance. They were a family. This newfound connection blossomed, and the shadows began to recede. The first step was set: tomorrow they would search for anyone connected to Morgan. They would dig through public records, family trees, even reach out to extended family members. The rush of purpose flowed through him, erasing his earlier anxieties. Mark spent the rest of the night preparing, his mind turning over the potential revelations ahead. Sleeplessness hung around his eyes, but determination kept him alert. He felt empowered, almost reborn with the knowledge that he was not just searching for his past, he was building a future. The next morning arrived bright and full of promise. The children sprang out of bed, excitement bubbling over as they huddled around the breakfast table. Laughter returned, echoing joyous notes that comforted and lifted Mark's spirits. After breakfast, they divided their tasks with smiles, high fives, and promises of ice cream as a reward later that day. As they worked through the city's archives, Mark felt a sense of exhilarating purpose. Names began to emerge, connections stretching before them like the branches of a vast tree. Here. Mia pointed towards a scanned document. This says she was a nurse in the same city. Let us find out where she might be now, Mark said, heart racing. This might lead us to her. Over the course of the day, they uncovered more information and brought clarity to their family history, but amidst the thrill of discovery, doubt also nipped at Mark's heels. Would they find Morgan willing to embrace them, or would the past recoil, filled with bitterness or anger, staring at the printed family trees scattered across the table? Mark's heart ached. Were the bonds he was forging with the triplets strong enough to withstand the potential rejection of Morgan? As the hours stretched behind them, evening cloaked the world outside. With a deep breath, Mark turned to the kids, who were animatedly discussing their next steps. "Okay, gather around," he instructed, eyes shining. The three triplets looked up with expectation. "When we find Morgan, we need to be ready for anything. And whatever happens, we hold tight to our love as a family, right?" "Right." They cheered in unison, swallowing the lump in his throat. Mark marveled at how the fear had shifted to a sense of unyielding determination. As they headed home that evening, laughter still ringing through the crisp air, Mark knew this wasn't just a search for family, this was about affirming their right to love and be loved. Together, they were building something far more important, a legacy that would stand the test of time. Mark stopped, holding their hands, surrounding them in quiet closeness. "You guys are the best gift. I couldn't ask for a better family." And in that moment, as the stars blanketed the night sky, Mark felt the weight lift from his heart. He was not alone any longer. With the triplets by his side, he was prepared to face whatever came next, ready to embrace the joys and tribulations of life as a united family. Tomorrow would be the start of a new chapter, one filled with hope, connection, and the brave pursuit of their true story. Now, dear friends, it's your turn to jump into this exciting journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next heartwarming stories that connect us all. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others discover this transformative tale. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this finale, your encouragement means the world, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to feel this inspiring transformation. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now, and don't wait not even one more second to share this message.